Hello everyone, in today's class we are going to discuss on the topic electric heating. So outline of today's discussions are what is electric heating, advantage of electric heating, methods of heat transfer and classification of electric heating. So in everyone's mind question arises, what is electric heating? So electric heating is a process in which your electrical energy is being converted into a heat energy. So the conversion of electrical energy into heat energy is known as your electric heat. So question might also arise, what is the principle behind it? So your electric heating works upon the principle of Joule heating. That is, when current I flow in a conducting material of resistance R for time t equals to t second, the amount of heat produced in that conducting material, that is H equals to I square RT. So this is the principle behind electric heating. Joule heating is the principle behind your electric heating. What is the advantage of electric heating over another method of electric heating? Number one is your economical. It is highly economical because in case of electric heating, equipments used are cheaper in cost and it requires very less skilled person. Therefore, you can say it is highly economical in nature. Next one is clean to atmosphere. It is clean to atmosphere because in electric heating, no gases and dust is being produced. Therefore, you can say it is clean to heating. Next one is your easy to control. The temperature which is being produced or the heat which is being produced during electric heating production process doesn't produces any gases or dust. Therefore, you can say it is easy to control also because the heat which is being produced can be controlled manually or it can be controlled automatically. Therefore, you can say it is easy to control. Uniform heating. In electric heating, heating has been done uniformly. Uniform heating has been achieved in case of electric heating. Last one is your high efficiency. Because of easy to control temperature, because of economical in nature and clean to atmosphere, we can say it has a high efficiency as compared to other mode of heat transfer. Next one is your application. Your electric heating is extensively used for two types of application. One is your domestic application, another one is your industrial application. In domestic application, it is used as a room heater for heating the room. It is being used as an immersion heater for heating the water. It is being used as an electric kettle, electric oven and geyser. Next one is your industrial application. In an industrial application, it is being used for molding of glasses for making glass appliances, molding of plastic component for making plastic appliances, electric welding and melting of metals. So these are the list of industrial application. Next one is your modes of heat transfer. In electric heating, there are three modes of heat transfer. One is your conduction mode of heat transfer. Another one is your convection mode of heat transfer. Another one is your radiation mode of heat transfer. So, in conduction mode of heat transfer, you can say it is a process in which the heat from the hot body is being transferred to the adjacent body. For example, you can say if you want to make a tea, we have to place a pan over a kettle, over a stove. The stove is a hot body which transfers the heat to the pan. So this mode of transfer of heat from the hot body to cold body is known as your conduction mode of heat transfer. And what is convection mode of heat transfer? In convection mode of heat transfer, the heat is being transferred from hot to the cold air. For example, in case of a immersion heater, were generally used for heating the water. Last one is your radiation. So what is radiation? So in case of radiation, there is no mode of heat transfer. There is no direct contact of transfer of heat from hot body to cold body. For example, you can say Earth is your cold body, Sun is your hot body. So there is a transfer of heat from hot body to cold body without any direct contact or without any medium. So that mode of transfer of heat from hot to cold without any medium is known as your radiation mode of heat transfer. Here you can see in the diagram, a pan is being placed over a stove. So stove is your hot body, pan is your cold body. So from this stove, the heat is being transferred to the pan. So that mode of transfer of heat is known as your conduction mode of heat transfer. Here you can see inside the pan there is a water. So heat is being transferred from hot to cold air. So that mode of heat transfer is known as a convection mode of heat transfer. Radiation mode of heat transfer, if we place a hand nearby the pan, we will experience a heat. So there is a transfer of heat from the pan to the hand without any direct contact or without any medium. So that transfer of heat to the hand is known as a radiation mode of heat transfer. Next one is a classification of electric heating. So your electric heating is further classified into two types. One is a power frequency heating, another one is a high frequency heating. So again, power frequency heating is further divided into two parts. One is your resistance heating, another one is your arc heating. And your high frequency heating is further divided into two parts. One is your induction heating and another one is your dielectric heating. Your resistance heating is further divided into two parts. One is your direct resistance heating, another one is your indirect resistance heating. So here you can see arc resistance heating is further divided into two parts. Direct arc resistance heating, another one is your indirect arc heating. Your induction heating is further divided into two parts. Direct core type induction heating, codeless type induction heating. Here's your resistance heating. So resistance heating is further based on which effect? It is based on I square R effect. So when a current flows, what is I square R effect? When a current flows in a high resistivity material, I square R losses is created. Because of that I square R losses, high amount of heat is being produced. So that high amount of heat is being produced for electrical engineering application. Here resistance heating is further divided into two parts. One is your direct resistance heating, another one is your indirect resistance heating. So what do you mean by direct resistance heating? Here you can see the diagram of direct resistance heating. Here in case of a direct resistance heating, there is a furnace. Inside the furnace you can see a red circle which is known as a charge or a material which is to be heated. These charge or material are in the form of powder, or it might be in the form of small solid pieces, or it might be in the form of liquid. Over the charge you can see high resistance powder is being sprinkled. This high resistance power is being sprinkled over the charge in order to avoid the short circuit. Here you can see there are two electrodes which are being inserted inside the charge. When a current flows from positive to negative, the current will also flow through the body of the charge. As a result, current will also flow through the body of the charge, which will create I square R losses since the charge is made up of high resistivity material. Because of that, I square R losses will be produced. That I square R losses will cause a heat to be produced inside the charge. That heat is uniformly distributed among the charge. So here, in case of a direct resistance heating, you can say the charge receives the heat or resistance or I square losses itself directly, because these two electrodes are inserted inside the charge directly. So there is a direct contact of the current or the heat which is being produced inside the charge. Therefore, this type of heating is known as a direct resistance heating. Next one is the application of direct resistance heating. What is the application? Number one, it is used in resistance welding. Second one is a boiler for heating water. Third one is a salt bath furnace which is used for hardening the stool and for prevention of oxidation. So these are the application of direct resistance heating. Next one is a indirect resistance heating. In indirect resistance heating, here you can see there is a furnace and the charge which is being placed on the either side of the furnace. There is no contact of the charge with the heating element or with the electrodes. Here you can see the electrodes is being connected to a heating element or high resistivity material. Your heating element is your high resistivity material. So this heating element has not any contact with the charge which is being placed on either side of the furnace. So when the current flows from positive to negative, the current will flow from high resistivity material or high heating element. As a result, I square R losses will be produced. That I square R losses will release intense amount of heat. That heat is being given to the either side of the charge which is being placed in the furnace in the form of either conduction mode of heat transfer or in the form of radiation mode of heat transfer, or either it may be the combination of both transfer of heat. Next one is your application of indirect resistance heating. Number one is a room heater which is used for heating the room, water heater for heating the water, ovens like domestic cooking purposes. Requirements for good heating element. What are the requirements for good heating elements? Number one is a high melting point. It should have a high melting point. With the increase in small amount of temperature, a small amount of temperature will not affect the component or the high element resistance if there is a change in the temperature. Next one is it should have a high specific resistance. If the length of the wire is less, it might be also able to produce intense amount of heat. Therefore, it should also have a high specific resistance. Next one is it should be free from oxidation, which will not affect the lifespan of the heating element. Next one is it should not be corrosive in nature because all of the equipments are exposed to the atmosphere. Therefore, it should not be corrosive in nature. Next one is arc furnace. What do you mean by arc? How the arc is being produced? Here you can see two electrodes are placed apart from each other. There is an air gap in between the two electrodes. These two electrodes is connected across a step-up transformer. This step-up transformer is further connected to a variable AC source. So when we apply an excess amount of voltage across these two electrodes, the air in between these two electrodes will get ionized. As a result, there will be a spark or application of an excess amount of voltage across the two ends of the electrodes. But not only the excess amount of voltage, but also less amount of voltage or low voltage can also be able to create the arc. You can see in the figure 2, you can see here the transformer is being used. This transformer is just step down transformer which is connected to a AC supply. This supply may be a variable AC supply. Okay, so here you can see that these two electrodes are connected across a low voltage supply through the help of the transformer. Initially, these two electrodes are in contact with each other. When these two electrodes are separated for some period of time, there will be a strike of the arc or there will be a strike of the spark. That spark or arc will create an intense amount of heat even if the application of a small amount of voltage. Next, you can see direct arc furnace. Your arc furnace is further divided into two types. One is your direct arc furnace, another one is your indirect arc furnace. So this is your direct arc furnace. Direct arc furnace means here you can see there is a furnace is there and one electrode is there. The bottom of the furnace is made up of a steel. Since this type of furnace is known as a conducting bottom type furnace because the bottom of the furnace is made up of steel. Here you can see one part of the electrode is connected to a winding, secondary winding of a transformer, another part is connected to the bottom of the furnace. When the current flows from the electrode to the base of the furnace, current flows through the charge or the body of the material. As a result, spark will be produced or arc will be produced. That arc or spark comes in contact with the charge or a material which is to be heated directly. Therefore, this type of arc furnace is known as a direct arc furnace. As a result, the charge of the material which is to be heated get uniformly heated throughout of it because of the radiation mode of heat transfer or it might be the conduction mode of heat transfer. Next one is your indirect arc furnace. Here you can see three electrodes are connected to a three-phase supply. Here the bottom of the base of the furnace is non-conducting because there is no current will not pass through the bottom of it. It is not acting as an electric circuit. So here you can see it is also a direct arc furnace because here arc also comes in direct contact with the charge. But here the base or the bottom of the furnace is not acting as a circuit. It is acting as a non-conducting bottom. The current will not flow through the body of the furnace. It will only flow through the in between the gap of the charge and in between the electrodes. Here you can see this is the indirect arc furnace. In case of indirect arc furnace, arc doesn't come in contact with the charge. Here you can see it is in the form of cylindrical shape. There are two electrodes which is connected across the AC supply with the help of the transformer. When we apply a voltage across the two end of the electrodes, an arc will be produced because in between the two electrodes in between the two electrodes there is a gap and the gap is filled with the air. If you apply intense amount of high amount of voltage across these two electrodes, what will happen? The air will get ionized. If air will get ionized, there will be a arc formation. That arc will create an intense amount of heat. That heat is being transferred to the charge either by the mode of convention mode of heat transfer or radiation mode of heat transfer. Thank you everyone.